Welcome to the July 9th, 2018 Board of Selectmen meeting. All selectmen are present. We did have an executive session at 6 o'clock for the purposes of discussing strategies with respect to litigation involving multi-district litigation against manufacturers and distributors of opioids in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 21A3, as the open meeting would have been detrimental to the effect of the town's position. All right, if you'd all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we have the transmitting of the Treasury warrants 52, 52A, 53, 53A, 1, and 1A. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion on the Treasury warrants? All in favor? Unanimous. We have one set of minutes, Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. Everybody have an opportunity to review them. And we have a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Loud. Any discussion, errors, omissions, corrections? Okay, all in favor? Opposed and voted unanimously. Appointments. Our first one is with Nicholas A. Felici. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Felici. Why don't you come up here, sir? This is a public hearing, so the audience will have an opportunity to participate in it. It's in regards to a Mexican restaurant.
Yes, it is.
Sure.
Mr.
Why don't you
Chairman?
have a seat?
I was just gonna, as a
Oh,
preliminary matter, I was going to give the green card to Madam Secretary, or whoever would be taking it.
Okay, Jeff?
So just to be clear, this is for the purpose of consideration of an all-alcohol license.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And by way of background, with me tonight is Mr. David Brambilla, the owner and the founder of Casablanca Restaurant.
And you're looking to go into 207 Main Street, which is
That's
what,
right.
is
This
that
was-
the
this-
old Chili's?
This was the Chili's restaurant.
That's great.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice restaurant going in town over there.
I think it certainly should be a great addition. I know that by way of background, Mr. Brambilla and his family have successfully owned several restaurants in the area north of Boston and Metro West, doing business as the Casablanca Restaurant. And in Metro West area, you might be familiar with it as Acapulco's. And they bring a family-themed Mexican-style restaurant to, hopefully, to Wilmington. And we're hoping that the town of Wilmington will benefit quite a bit from their authentic Mexican cooking and their way of approaching the restaurant business.
Very nice. Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Bendel?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. I think really a lot of people are excited about this, so I too am excited about it. I do have a question. When could we expect that you might open if this was to, if we grant you the license?
That's always the question. We have a few other restaurants in the works and in other locations, and the timing that I've been seeing with the ABCC is that in the summer, things get a little bit slower. So we are on course to be able to open within a few weeks after ABCC approval. There is some minor building out and remodeling to make it Mexican decor, from the Chili's decor, but we expect to be able to open within a few weeks once the license is approved at the state level. But as I say, my experience lately has been you can expect 4 to 6 weeks easily before that process is finished. So we'd expect to be open within probably 2 months is what I'm thinking, right?
Great. And Well, I wish you well. Thank you for choosing Wilmington. I wish you much success.
We appreciate that. It's a great town.
Any other questions? No? Okay, we want to make them,
You had mentioned the build-out. Is there any major changes to the exterior of the building?
Not at all. No, when we talk about build-out, we're talking about just making booths, contour to their theme, touching up around the bar area, but no renovations or anything to the exterior or anything like that.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, any recommendations from department heads?
yeah, we're going to ask Mr. Hull
Thank you.
on that.
Just real quick, so
Sure.
you're just gonna, thank you, you're just gonna make modifications inside, so obviously you're not gonna need site plan review because you're not doing anything to the fixture itself, so.
No.
Should be a pretty routine, quick thing, I would assume.
We think it's routine. Nothing's routine at the ABCC.
Good luck
but
with that, yeah.
as far as our development of the property itself, that should be fairly routine.
No, good luck, I've heard of your restaurant, and, really
He's
sounds
done a
great.
great job.
yeah,
I'm happy to represent
yeah.
him.
Nice, thank you.
Okay. And you had some recommendations from the
Yes,
police?
recommendations. Al Spalding, the building inspector, I have reviewed the above-mentioned application, have no outstanding zoning issues. Recommendation from Shelley Newhouse, the health director, I recommend approval of the application for new alcohol restaurant license submitted by Green Sauce Inc., DBA Casablanca Mexican Restaurant. And the recommendation from the police, right here. Upon review, the Wilmington Police Department recommends approval of the application of a new alcohol license submitted by David Brambella, George Vargas, and Maya Munoz for the following: Green Sauce Inc., DBA Casablanca Mexican Restaurant, 207 Main Street, Wilmington, Mass. Police Department.
Okay, because this is a public hearing, I'll open it up to those that are in the audience that wish to make a comment, ask a question before we take a formal vote on the recommendation. Hearing none. We'll move to
Close
take
the
the
hearing.
application, yeah?
Just close
I
the
make a
hearing.
motion that we grant the,
Well, let's make a motion to close the public hearing first.
So moved.
all right.
Motion made, seconded. Any other discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. Now we'll have a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to grant the request of the alcohol beverage license to the applicant this evening.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jonathan Eaton. Any further discussion on the board? How it is written? Okay, so the motion will be how it is written by the town manager. You want to,
Yes,
Read
yeah,
this
so
into the
the
record.
motion that I would suggest be considered is that the board approve the application for Green Sauce DBA Casablanca Mexican Restaurant for a license to serve all alcohol beverages in a restaurant to be located at 207 Main Street, and further that a determination is made that the license is not detrimental to the spiritual activities of the church located on Bridge Lane or educational activities of the preschool/daycare located on Main Street.
okay. So,
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion as described by the town manager to approve.
okay.
Good.
Motion made and seconded by Jonathan. Any other discussion on that? All in favor? And voted unanimously. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
members of the board.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was in Acapulco's and Milford.
Yep.
On both sides, too?
No, that's okay.
Just on the one side. Okay. Almost up to our 7:15 appointment. But the heck, we might as well take them now, huh? Guys want to stay there or come over here? And I think the camera will be better for you on that side. Our 7:15 appointment is the introduction to KP Law, Town Council. We have with us today, we have Mark Rich, Jonathan Silverstein, and Joe Fair. Welcome, gentlemen. Appreciate you coming out to introduce yourselves to the public, to the citizens of Wilmington. We had great interviews with you, and we feel that you're the right firm for Wilmington with the experience and the background that you have, and we're looking forward to a great relationship, working and moving forward. So I don't know if you want to.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for having us tonight. We're obviously very, very excited and very honored to have gone through the interview process successfully and to now be before you as your new town council. Just to reacquaint you, Mark Rich, Jonathan Silverstein, and Joseph Fair from our office. We thought it was a really interesting and exciting interview process. Really enjoyed meeting both the department heads who were involved in the process, the town manager, of course, and the entire board. And we really look forward to hitting the ground running. I know we've received a lot of materials, and looking forward to receiving all the files, getting caught up with everything that's going on in the town. And it's just exciting. As we said during the interview process, Wilmington's a very sophisticated community, has a number of different issues, and we're just excited to be part of your team and to be available to you and assist you in every matter that comes before you. So I'll leave it to these gentlemen to make some comments as well.
I'll hop in. Let me also thank the board. We really appreciate the confidence that you've shown in us by this appointment. I think we want to acknowledge, we understand there were a lot of very qualified firms that came before you, including your prior council, and I want to acknowledge that it wasn't a unanimous vote. We're going to do everything we can to win over the entire board and to demonstrate to you that you made the right choice. We know that it was a very important choice, that you had a lot of options, and that this is something that you took very seriously. So just really quickly, just to remind you and for anyone in the room or anyone watching, my specialization is land use matters as well as litigation. So I'll be working a lot with your planning staff, your zoning board of appeals, your planning board, to work on the various development proposals that might come in front of the town. I don't want to speak for Mark, but he can explain to you what his background is.
Good point. I am a municipal generalist. My specialties really are construction, procurement, health and environmental regulation and enforcement, but I also have involvement in public records, open meeting law, conflict of interest, as well as municipal finance, town meetings. So I imagine the town manager and I will spend quite a bit of time together, and I'm really looking forward to that because that's a great way to get to know the town and then spending time before the board, and really looking forward to working closely with the board. Joe?
Thank you, and again, my name is Joe Fair. I just echo my colleagues' comments and thanking the board for this opportunity, and we do look forward to hitting the ground running. My area of specialty is labor and employment matters, as well as some general municipal matters, so I expect I'll be spending some time with the town manager as well as your human resources director, and look forward to it, and thank you again.
Thank you. And I know Mark will be the point person, I believe,
Yes.
the way it's structured at this point in time.
Yeah, the intent, Mr. Chairman, is to make sure that there's no confusion as to who you need to get in touch with. The town manager obviously has access to all of us, but can always come to me, and I'll make sure that any issues or concerns, legal matters are handled by either one of the three of us or the experts that we have at the firm. But we want to make sure that you're attended to, and that will be my job.
Right. Anybody have any comments they want to make?
I'll just say real quick, because evidently you said it wasn't a unanimous vote, but And I just want to make sure we keep our eye on the ball relative to the community. Our best interest is the town, and I'm willing to work with anybody, any firm, as long as it's in the best interest of the community. So I want to let you folks know that, and we'll see how things go. And I offer that, that's all.
Very much appreciated.
Yep.
Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here, and congratulations. Look forward to working with you as well. As it was kind of alluded to, certainly it was a difficult decision. 5 excellent new firms for us to consider, and obviously you're the one that we chose. So we look forward to working with you. I do have a question, if I may. In the interviews, we talked about, and you talked about, the possibility of some training for our admin team and for perhaps board members. So I hope that that's something that we can follow up on, and maybe through the manager, provide some type of training for whether it's department heads or for the board itself. We'd look forward to that and finding out which opportunities we would have for training.
We
think
have
should-
actually a list of topics that we can recommend, but we're open to training on a number of fronts. We think it's a great opportunity to, obviously, to spend some time with the department heads and with the board or boards and commissions as need be, and an opportunity to give you some tools to kind of get ahead of the ball with issues that are current, things that you need to think about. So we really enjoy the training. I think we made that point to the town manager and the chairman in one of our earlier meetings, and we certainly would look forward to moving forward with that to whatever extent the town would like us to.
Sure. So I think we'll probably let you get through the transition phase here first, and then hopefully take you up on that offer. But
Absolutely, I hope so.
And I'm sure you saw the tape from the last one, but certainly the communities that I spoke to that you guys already represent had high praise for you, so I was excited to hear that. And again, we're excited to work with you, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just welcome aboard, and
Thank you.
I wish you the best. And again, as some of my colleagues have said, I look forward to working with you guys. And again, with Selectman Bendel's comments regarding the training, I think that's an excellent opportunity to kind of onboard with the municipality. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for being here tonight, and it was, like you stated, and previous selectmen had said it was a tough decision because we had great opportunities with 5 other lawyers from law firms. I did a lot of research, and a lot of towns spoke highly of you guys, a couple that I spoke to. But I do welcome you and look forward to working with you. And I'm just going to, one thing Greg mentioned, training, which is excellent. But one of the hot topics that is going on right now about planning and is inclusionary bylaw. I mentioned it at the interview process. And now, John, I know that you guys had mentioned you could certainly help us with this if we can get that on the forefront and get it in our next town meeting. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I've already had a meeting with your planning director.
She's excellent, by the way.
It was a great meeting. We, as well as your town engineer,
Yeah.
we went through a number of sort of the issues at the forefront on the
Yeah.
land planning, and that was one of the topics we discussed. So shouldn't be an issue to get it on for next spring.
Welcome aboard, and thank you, and look forward to working with you guys.
Okay, what I'd like to do is to move up item number 6, since KP is here, for the board to consider item with signing the town council's contract for the fiscal year 2019.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a quick
Sure.
comment before you do that?
Yep.
I mean, before we take up the vote, and I wanted to show common courtesy to you folks. I didn't know the chairman was going to bring that up. I didn't want to rain on your parade. I wanted you to say what you had to say, but I just want to make this quick comment. I know there was talk. Now, I did receive a copy. From what I understand, our existing town council didn't send a copy relative to a contract to the town hall on Friday. I received an email. I assume the rest of my colleagues received that email today, and I made a hard copy. And the reason why I bring that up is when we were sitting up here, I know several selectmen stated that, we're looking maybe to have, labor law, we're looking at maybe regular municipal law, and probably special counsel. And everyone was talking about special counsel relative to Olin Chemical and New England Transrail, which is one of the disasters of this whole community. It's been going on for 3 decades. And they talked about Dan Deutsch. And a lot of folks, even up here, said they had a lot of faith in him. And what I'm looking at is, I know in the existing contract that you capped $50,000 if it was to be appropriated to special counsel. I mean, we got to take care of the community. And that was the flavor of residents in the audience, and that's been the flavor of some of these members here that said that they would love to maintain Dan Deutsch. Before the vote is taken, Mr. Chairman, I would hope to think that everyone did receive that email today, I believe. I made a hard copy of it, and it's in front of us, and I don't know why we wouldn't want to sign to have Dan Deutsch come on board, because that was what folks were talking about. And all I care about is what's the best interest of this community. I know Dan Deutsch has done an outstanding job relative to that. That was a big concern, and we got to take care of the safety and well-being of these residents that live here. And we got to think of the safety. We got to think of what's going on there, and we just can't just push that under the rug at the moment. There was a lot of talk about this over the last couple of meetings, especially the last meeting. So I have a contract here, and I would hope to think before you do make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we would at least take a look at that. I mean, I have a hard copy.
I did receive that, and I believe all the board members received it today, or at least it was sent out today. It's not on the agenda to take up for issues of voting on it, so I'm not going to entertain that.
Well,
but
that's
it
fine,
is-
that's fine, okay, but
but
I
it-
just want to
but
make
it
a
is
point. I
also-
understand, but I just want to make a point, Mr. Chairman, that I think we all care about the environment, and I think we all care what happens in our community. I just think I'd make a motion that, you're saying it's not on the agenda, but evidently, the town has received it on Friday. We all received an email. This is what we were talking about. I'd like to make a motion.
It's still not part of the agenda, so I won't accept the motion, but it still needs to be negotiated. It comes with a big package. Now, we put into this contract, if you read it, the option for us to hire special town counsel. So it's in this package. So that is protecting Wilmington's right to hire special town counsel. Now, in that memo or the package that you received from Brooks and Durensis, it basically stipulates that we have to hire 4 attorneys, the paralegals, the clerical, it's like hiring another firm, and I'm not into hiring another firm. I'm into hiring a special town counsel if we need to, and if it's Dan Deutsch, then we can do so. But I'm not into hiring every attorney in that law firm.
Mr. Chairman, the cap in the agreement by KP is $50,000. That's the most that they're going to pay. And that is all. We can always make amendments to this if we have to down the road, but the bottom line is, we have an opportunity, and I say it respectfully, and I'm looking forward to have a great relationship with you folks. Like I said, this was a major concern of several of them. I know at least 4 of the members, I didn't say, that we're very interested in maintaining the services of Dan Deutsch for this and try to reach out to him. And there's a contract here. I just been involved for 3 decades on Olin, the Land Transrail. They ended up knocking out 5 of our 9 wells, was perhaps one of our greatest natural resources. I was on the board when DEP was looking at it. Before it was the DEQE, Department, the DEQE, then they went to the DEP, and then they made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that it be a Superfund site. And that's when I even voted years ago to allow that to happen, because we wanted Big Brother to take over the EPA. And been involved.
That $50,000 is just a projected invoice that town council said that they would apply towards
cap.
Dan Deutsch if he were hired. But if he weren't hired, then KP would take over Olin and NET as part of their responsibility. Yes,
I think
Mr.
we have
Bendel.
2 separate issues here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're taking a vote on a contract with KP for the next year, and if the town wants to contract with somebody else for their services, we can do that at any time. But this is a separate issue. We're voting on a contract with KP as our town council. If we want to contract someone else, which...
And it gives us that latitude in this contract.
Correct. It's a separate issue.
We don't have a meeting until mid-August
Hold on.
from now. What happens from now until then?
Make just one comment. So, Mr. McCoy, I do appreciate your concern for getting something set up, so at least we know one way or the other who's going to be handling those 2 issues, the Olin and New England Transrail. I wouldn't be opposed to meeting between now and August 13th to make sure that that happens. I understand that Attorney Durensis was away on vacation last week, which was why we hadn't received anything until today or Friday, or whenever it happened. I know I got an email at 12:09 this afternoon, which is the first time that I saw it. So part of the reason why my understanding of that we have to post the agenda ahead of time is that some members of the public get to look at what's on the agenda so that they can come to a meeting and have their concerns heard. And that it didn't make it onto the agenda, whether it was Brooks and Durensis not sending it prior to close of business on Friday, or whatever it happened, it's not on the agenda, so the public actually doesn't have the opportunity to let their voice be heard. Again, I share your urgency for wanting to get this locked down, because I don't want to be talking about town council in mid-August. I want that to be ironed out, figured out. Let's move on to the next thing. So again, I don't want to cut into anybody else's vacations, but if we can get something locked down, we could, I think, pretty simply just have a quick meeting with one agenda item or whatever else comes up, so we can figure it out. I think I do share Attorney Bendel's. We're here to vote on the contract, the retainer for KP Law, but I think for whatever reason, the Brooks and Durensis agreement hasn't been presented to us in a sufficient time, so it's...
Well, just to be, for the record, it was sent here July 6th. It's
I
well
saw-
beyond the
and I s-
48 hours that it was received here, just to let you know.
Which is why I said, I don't know
Which
when it was
should
actually
have been
shared.
on this part of the agenda, but it's not. But it was sent July 6th, well beyond the 48 hours of posting, but it's not here. That's-
Let me just be clear. So the information was sent via email to me on Friday, July 6th. The agenda needs to be posted 48 hours in advance of the Monday meeting, which requires that it be posted by the close of business on Thursday, July 5th, which took place. So the fact that we received this on Friday did not allow it to be on the agenda for consideration, because as was pointed out previously, the public has a right to know what is going to be considered and taken, what votes are going to be taken at the meeting. You know, I can't control what, how quickly this information comes in. It came in on Friday, and for better or worse, that was when it was received.
Did anybody have any conversations with Brooks and Durensis prior to July 6th relative to special town council to, forget about Dan Deutsch, anybody?
Yes, I had multiple email exchanges and conversations with Attorney Durensis, and ultimately, as I say, this engagement letter was submitted to the office on
Right.
Friday.
Basically, I believe the conversation was that he was on vacation, and that he wouldn't be back until July 9th. So that coming in on Friday was
Okay.
somewhat of a surprise. Yeah, Mr. Bendel.
And again, I think we all hope to contract the services of Mr. Durensis if we can do so. But I don't think I think that's separate from what we're trying to vote on right now. Am I correct?
Correct. Okay. Is there a motion to accept the contract for town council between the town and KP Law?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the contract that was presented to us on a memo dated July 6, 2018 from the town manager, as it's written.
There's a motion by Mr. Loud, seconded by Mr. Eaton. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
If I could take 30 seconds, I want to look forward to working with you on behalf of the community. I just want to be consistent. I didn't vote for the appointment, so I just think it's only right I don't vote for the contract. But there's a whole year ahead of it, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody, okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
We understand. We look
No,
forward
no,
to
thank you.
winning you over.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being
Have a
here.
great night.
Yep, you too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, next is our 7:30 appointment, right on the button, maybe a little after. Tina Stewart, the library director, to go over the summer programs and highlights and all sorts of great things. Tina, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to share with you some of the highlights of our summer reading program and to talk to you about a new initiative that we're launching in September called Revive Civility. So first, summer reading program. Our youth services staff at the library have done another outstanding job of coming up with great programs and incentives to keep kids reading all summer long. So far, over 1,000 kids and teens have signed up for summer reading to date and have read over 1,848 hours. As you know, the benefits of summer reading are clear. National research finds that students who participate in public library summer reading programs scored higher on reading achievement tests at the beginning of the next school year than those who did not participate. The theme this year is Libraries Rock, and one of the incentives is a beaded necklace. So for every hour that the child reads, they can add a bead to their necklace. And these have been very popular with even boys. So boys and girls are becoming very competitive. Brother and sister are competing, and we actually found out we're running out of beads. So that's a good sign that we're ordering some more beads today because the kids have really enjoyed making their necklaces. We also have a summer reading program again for teens and for adults, and I did want to point out that once again that the library has purchased multiple copies of the books for the required summer reading for the Wilmington Public Schools, and we have copies in print and digital format, and they are again very popular. They're going out, but we've always supported the Wilmington Public Schools required summer reading program. And to give a shout out to the Friends of the Library, we couldn't offer the robust programming that we do without their financial support. So I do appreciate all they do for the library and helping us, certainly provide great programs for the community. I do want to invite you and the community to our finale program, the End of Summer Bash. This is our third year, but it'll be on the Swain Green on Thursday, August 9th from 5 to 7:30. And you bring your lawn chairs and your blankets, and don't cook that night. We're going to have 2 food trucks, affordable menus, and we'll have desserts will be available for sale, and there'll be a band and children's games and entertainment. So let's cross our fingers for good weather. Another collaboration we're doing is with Wilmington Rotary. This year we're collaborating with the Rotary, and we're going to do movies on the Swain for 4 nights in August. We're going to do right at dusk around 7:45. Rotary's providing the big screen, and we'll be showing Coco on August 3rd, Pitch Perfect on August 10th, Sing on August 17th, and Grease on August 24th. So another great collaboration with Rotary. We thank them for their support for that event. And we're doing a Coffee with the Cop. I just wanted to share that with you. We are working with the Wilmington Police Department, and on the 3rd Wednesday of the month, we have an officer come to the library in a very relaxed, informal setting and to meet with residents. So our first meeting was this past June, and we have, actually the police chief was there and a few officers, and just chatted with the patrons in the library. So again, if anyone has concerns or questions, and they just might feel more comfortable coming to the library to chat with an officer, that's a good opportunity. So now I know, and the manager probably gave you our brochure called Revive Civility. So this is something I'm very excited about offering, and I want to first acknowledge the Friends of the Library again and the James Banda Memorial Fund Mr. Band's family designated the Friends to for donations to be given in his memory. And I think this would be something that it would be near to his heart, to have programs to deal with civility. Wilmington Community Fund, We're One Wilmington, and the law offices of two Cantonis and Reynolds have contributed to supporting this program. So, but due to the acknowledged decline in civil discourse, the library plans to host a series of events on the theme Revive Civility. We hope this initiative will raise awareness of the importance of engaging in civil conversations between people of different viewpoints, and remind people of all ages of the importance of respect, empathy, consideration, and tolerance. And the kickoff is on Thursday, September 6th, and our keynote speaker is Dr. Caroline Lukensmeyer, and she's the Executive Director of the National Institute for Civil Discourse. The National Institute for Civil Discourse is a nonpartisan organization based at the University of Arizona that promotes healthy and civil political debate. It was established in May of 2011 after the tragic Tucson shooting that killed 6 people and wounded 13 others, including former Congressman Gabriel Giffords. Dr. Lukensmeyer will explore the causes of incivility and disrespect that have been at play in the political arena and beyond. She will share the latest polling data on how Americans feel about the Great Divide and the impact it is having on their lives. Most importantly, she will share the signs of hope that the National Institute for Civil Discourse is finding, including actions taken by elected officials, new models, and experimentation in journalism, and what ordinary Americans are doing to respond to this crisis. The evening will end with an exploration of what we can do here in the community. So I certainly hope that all elected officials will attend, and invite you and encourage all residents to come to this keynote event. And following that, we have a number of other programs related to the theme of civility. And so this sort of sets the table, the first event, and we're going to be having a discussion sessions called Civility in Action. And I think this is going to give people an opportunity to try to talk about sort of, I'll say, heated topics with opposing viewpoints in a sort of civil manner, but to listen and to learn at the same time. And one of those is going to be on, the first one is the NFL anthem protest and free speech. And that's going to be on Tuesday, September 11th at 7 p.m. And then the following Tuesday is gun control and the right to bear arms on Tuesday, the 18th. And there'll be reading material offered for the public before that, so they come prepared to kind of understand some of the key issues on those topics. And then on Tuesday, September 25th, we're going to talk about Wilmington's future. And we invited town moderator Peterson to moderate that discussion. And he was very excited to do that. And so ironically, that's the 288th anniversary of our town. So I think it's a great topic to be talking about on our anniversary. So I hope that, again, that you all be able to come. In fact, we originally had it scheduled for Monday, and Jeff said, why don't you move it to Tuesday so the selectmen could come? So I hope that you'll be able to come. So there's a number, I won't go through all the events, there's a number of events, and we've also included events for children and teens to focus on kindness and tolerance, that we hope that that will begin the discussion on this, a very important topic. And we also have bookmarks that are going to be going in the water bill that's going to be mailed in August, so that everyone is aware of this event. And we certainly encourage people to participate and at least come to a few of the programs. And finally, I'm going to be giving the town manager a Revive Civility proclamation that he will present to you at your I think your last meeting in August, to proclaim September Revive Civility Month in Wilmington. So I will be giving him that proclamation for you to adopt in August to kick off the event. So. Any other questions, I'll be happy to answer you.
Thank you. It's a great presentation. Thank you for being here. What can you say? You just do wonderful work at the library, day in and day out. I see a couple of these. One of these looks really interesting to me on the 13th of September. Where you're having the White House Social Secretary
Yes,
under the Bush administration. She's
yes.
going to be here speaking.
Actually, she co-authored that book with the Social Secretary for Michelle Obama, and which is interesting because we have certainly a Republican First Lady and a Democratic First Lady, but they talked about their experiences of having to deal with people from both sides of the aisle and from different cultures, and how they kind of worked through the all the ins and outs of in that position. And they give, it's quite an enjoyable book, and we're doing a book discussion on that as well. So, and we're going to have multiple copies of these books at the library during the whole month. So we purchased extra copies to give people a chance to read them.
That's great. Just a quick question on the amount of reading that everybody's doing. It's amazing. I like the
Oh, yes.
the beads in it.
This is not mine.
Oh, yeah.
Just full disclosure.
So you're not reading all
Full
those books?
disclosure.
Is that what okay. Do you have sight impaired books?
Well,
cassettes, or do you offer those through the
Most
library?
people who are blind, we really refer them to the Perkins. They have it's best that they go right through them. I mean, we certainly have large print books for people with a reading difficulty. We have audio books. But for people who are actually blind and completely, I think the best option for them is to make contact with the Perkins Institute for the Blind in Watertown.
I was curious if they offered that. Any comments, Mr. Bennett?
Thank you, Mrs. Stewart, for being here. Appreciate it. Obviously, there's a lot going on at the library, so thank you and your staff for all that you do. And certainly want to give a shout out and encourage all the students and children in our community to take advantage of your initiative with the beads. I think that's fantastic, and it's so important that they do that over the summer, so thank you very much. And having known you my whole life, your necklace would be completely filled with beads if it was
Yes,
yours. So
thank you.
thank you very much.
Those children are very, I don't know, I have to compete with them.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just echo my colleagues. Mrs. Stewart, union staff do a fantastic, wonderful job at the library. I'm looking forward to the night of the Greens, August 9th. You're going to have a couple of food trucks, and hopefully if their meatball sandwich is any good as the Sons of Italy at the 4th of July Common, then you got a winner, all right? Thank you.
Mr. Eaton?
Just continued praise for your creativity and really transforming the library into a community center and so much more than just a warehouse of books. So great job. I know you and I talked briefly about this before, but I think this is really on the forefront of you're just a thought leader in this community, so thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time tonight, Tina. You and your staff do a phenomenal job there. Like Mr. Eaton just said, it's not just four walls with books, it's a community center. And this is proof of it, the Revised Civility and the other programs you mentioned. So thank you for being here. And also, you had mentioned the Friends of the Library. It's such a great group of people that help you and your staff out, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hull, do you?
No,
Before we
I think it's
thank
largely been said, but there's no question that Tina and her staff really look to push the envelope, so to speak, in terms of what libraries can be. She is particularly attentive to the trends in library service. I know there are staff that on an annual basis attend some of the regional and national conferences to see what is cutting edge, so to speak, in terms of library service, and that really pays dividends in terms of the ideas that are generated by Tina and her staff. So kudos to the library staff.
Thank you. Thank you, Tina.
And I just want to
your staff,
thank,
sure.
certainly the selectmen and the town administration for all the support that they've, through the years, have given the library, because certainly that has been critical in allowing us to do what we do. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for appointments. Okay, that concludes appointments. On to communications. Mr. Hull?
Yes, first communication is correspondence that I sent out to Attorney Paul Durensis. This is with respect to the transition process, and essentially it's a formal notice authorizing the former town council to prepare the legal files for transfer and transition, with the exception of three particular cases. The Echo site case, which involves an effort to site a cell tower, which was denied by the Board of Appeals. There was work really to close that out that the prior firm was working on. And then also the Olin and New England Transrail matters. For the moment, we're not looking to transition those files to KP Law. In addition, any inactive files we will be taking back in warehousing here, so to speak. And we're also, in this correspondence, I'm looking for Brooks and Durensis to identify any and all cases that are pending with deadlines coming up in the next few weeks that new council will need to be aware of.
Thank you.
Next is notice that was received from, or by the town from the Economic Development Office with regard to the town's and Analog's TIF. It's essentially a motion to certify the tax increment financing agreement. It really capsulizes the specific terms of the TIF, which in part include 50 permanent full-time jobs, retaining 1,555 permanent full-time jobs, an investment on the part of Analog of $142.9 million, and then on the town's part, an 8-year agreement where a portion of the taxes for the new construction would be waived. And then just a final note, the EACC finds the form and substance of the proposed TIF agreement is consistent with the mandatory criteria set forth in the TIF statute in Section 3F of the EDIP statute. The EACC finds the proposed TIF agreement will further the public purpose of encouraging increased industrial and commercial activity in the Commonwealth. And then finally, the proposed TIF agreement shall be and hereby is certified as an approved TIF agreement, and this was done on June 20th, 2018.
Thank you. Okay, on to board to consider items. The first one we took care of, which was the town council's contract. Next.
So Rotary is looking once again to hold an event at the Rotary Park. They're requesting authorization to hold an event on Saturday, August 18th. This is for the Ice Bucket Challenge to raise funds for ALS research, the Lou Gehrig's disease. It's noted that to date, the group has donated over $11,000 for research, and so the event is requested to be held on the 18th of August from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, and there are no conflicts.
And it's rain or shine, since they're all going to get wet anyways, right?
That's right.
Okay. So is there a motion to authorize the use of Rotary Park on Saturday, August 18th, from 8 to 12?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.
Next under board to consider, We're One Wilmington. You'll recall last year when we established a more formal process for requests for road races and walks. They had initially requested Sunday, April 21st, 2019 for their 5K race walk. As it turns out, that is also Easter Sunday. They've submitted a request to change the date to Sunday, May 5th on 2019.
Okay. I see that the president from We're One Wilmington is here with us this evening. Is there a motion to accept the change?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Eaton, seconded by Mr. Bendel. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. We didn't even ask if there was anything going on other than that. So, yeah. Okay, that's it for board to consider. Okay, we're up to public comments. Are there any public comments? Yes, we'll start with, you just introduce yourself, no, Suzanne, introduce yourself with your address and you can.
Sullivan, 60 Walnut Street. I had a question for the board. Has there been any motion at all regarding special counsel Paul Durensis or Dan Deutsch for New England Transrail and Owen to continue?
Has there been any motion or
Has there
any
been a motion
discussion?
to do that?
There's
or
been
just
discussion on it.
But there's been no motion to do it?
Correct.
So there's
There's
been,
nothing-
so that would indicate that there's actually no real commitment from the board?
That's not necessarily so. We're under discussion with Brooks and Durensis to entertain the Dan Deutsch as special counsel at this point in time. Mr. Durensis has been on vacation. I believe Mr. Hull had mentioned earlier, and I know for a fact that he sent several emails as well as had conversations. I tried to have conversations with Mr. Durensis in this regard. So we're still kind of waiting for him to come back from vacation at this point in time. We did receive
I
a,
guess that's besides the point. I guess my point is if the, I mean, typically, wouldn't you make a motion for that if the rest of the board, if the board is on board for doing that? I mean, that's the kind of commitment that I'd like to see, that the board take a motion.
I don't think so at this time. What would we take a motion on? We don't have anything to take a motion on. We need to get into discussions with that firm to see if it's feasible and the right thing to do. So we haven't had any discussion with them yet. So when we do,
So why would
then we'll have, as Mr. Eaton said, we can call a meeting and take it up at that time.
So is it a cost issue?
We just received a letter of commitment, or a letter of engagement, I guess on Friday, that was just emailed to us early this afternoon. So we haven't even really, there is essentially, here's our retainer, but we really just received it. So it's not like we've been sitting on our laurels the last 2 weeks. Our town manager has been in discussions with Attorney Durensis, who was away last week. So we're not dropping the ball on this whatsoever. It's more of a trying to get a meeting of the minds. So again, I'm not sure if you were here or not, but I'm more than willing to meet the second that we have an agreement that we've all had an opportunity to digest, and once it's been posted so that the public can show up and let us know what they think. But it's certainly my priority to retain Attorney Deutsch. I know I'm not alone on the board in saying that. So this is not something that I want to see wait until our next scheduled meeting, which is mid-August. I want to see something done on it a lot sooner than that. So.
Because that's what my concern, that it's just gonna lag out there. And then
No, you can rest assured it's not going to just lay out there a lot, just sit out there. It will be acted upon one way or another. Personally, my feeling is that I would like to see Dan Deutsch, but I don't want to see the whole law firm as part of the agreement. And right now, the way I believe we received it is that there are 3 other attorneys that are attached to it, along with a whole host of other cost factors. So we want a special counsel, and that being Dan Deutsch. We don't want to hire another whole firm. We just hired a firm, and that's the firm that we're going to go with. And if we can get a special counsel in Dan Deutsch, I think we should do that. But I have no intentions of hiring Brooks and Durensis after we just hired KP.
I
Okay.
can speak to that, I haven't seen anything, I have no idea. The other issue, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring up is, how should I say this? So, there's been some people in town, some residents that are concerned about the way that town meeting operates, and that it's not conducive for today, and inclusive of today's lifestyle, if you will. It's held on Saturdays. The last town meeting was over 10 hours. It was brutal. And some of us want to see some changes. So, so I'm proposing to the board that if the board wants to take the reins on that and work towards, whether it be a committee or something to review the way town meeting operates today and how other towns do it, and whether we want to make some changes. Most towns do it, you know, during the week at night, where people can actually go, and it's not a conflict with their Saturdays in April. I think everybody has to agree that town meeting this year was brutal, and it's been brutal in the past. I mean, you really have to have a real strong commitment to go there. And a lot of times it ends up being, 50 or 100 people making decisions for the whole town. So we'd like to see some changes, and we already have, a group of us already have some proposed changes in a draft form that we've done our research in other communities and how other communities do it. So what I'm proposing to the board tonight is that if the board wants to get on board with that or take the lead in that, that's fine, but we want to give you the opportunity to do that instead of just cutting the whole town out and going to special town meeting and try to change the way annual town meeting operates.
We have a bylaw review committee, is that still on?
I would like to make a comment relative to that. If it's all right, through you, Mr. Chairman. I was appointed by the Board of Selectmen. Every 10 years, they have a bylaw committee and they do a review. And obviously, you need to make some changes. Well, during one of our meetings, I made a motion, and it was unanimous support by the whole bylaw committee, and it was full agenda. It was I think a full quorum there. I made a motion that we explore the opportunity of changing the town meeting on that Saturday, but there was more discussion to another Saturday that would be sometime in March when there are no sports, when there is no Holy Communion, you know, to that expect. Obviously, there was discussion, I said, in other communities, and I know Tewksbury does that, where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have a town meeting, say 7 to 10 or 7 to 11, and you have a cutoff time at a certain time. You might do the budget on Monday night, Tuesday night. All zoning articles could go on Wednesday night. So there's different aspects of doing that. But, and I didn't say nothing at the town meeting because I know the clerk gave her report of a summarization of what happened. But I didn't choose to say anything at that time. But now that's being brought out. We did explore it, unanimous vote by the bylaw committee to actually make that change. And I'm hoping that we go one step further and maybe have it on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, 7 to 10, and have a cutoff time. I totally agree with that. And that way we talk about getting people involved, we talk about participation with the residents, and once again, if something does pass at a town meeting and nobody shows, well, you know, you have to be there. But we need to make everything easy and make it everything possible for residents who foot the bill in this town to actually go and vote. A lot of folks got to work, you know, during the day, obviously, and a lot of folks are busy on a Saturday. You know, let's face it, on a Saturday, we changed it to the following Saturday from the last Saturday in April to the first Saturday in May. What do you do when it's 70 degrees out? Everyone's at Home Depot, Lowe's, or Mahoney's, Tewksbury. They're planting the gardens, and, you know, so we need to take a look at that.
It's not fair to expect a senior citizen to sit in the audience for 10 hours. And I don't think it's fair to expect anybody, but I mean, if you have somebody who's handicapped or a senior citizen, to expect them to sit because they may have something that they're interested in, it's luck of the draw. You never know what's going to come up. I mean, it's not really fair to people. So we think there needs to be some changes. We think there needs to be discussion about it. And so that's why I wanted to ask the board what their thoughts were on it. And if the board wants to do something, I don't know what was discussed at, you know, the bylaw committee. That was never mentioned at town meeting. And but after the last town meeting, we were all, not we all, but a lot of us were like, something has to change. This isn't right.
Thank you. Just to be sure, though, there was a special town meeting within the town meeting, which I think extended it by about 4 hours. But with that said, I do understand that it was long.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
the first time. Even,
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of town meetings where it's 8. I think special town
Right.
meeting was a little over 2 hours maybe,
Yeah.
so that would have put it at a little over 8 hours.
Yes,
Chair, to Mr. McCoy, I understand I'm asking you to be kind of a representative for the bylaw review committee, but do you have any expectation as to when that committee will wrap up its work?
We're going to be notified by the town clerk. She did go through certain sections. She needed to talk to a town council on some questions that she had.
Section 5, I think, was
yeah,
the
there was like a
beefy
few
one.
sections there that's questionable. So I'm expecting that we're going to meet again in the future and to really get this thing down so that way at the next town meeting that we can accept these changes. But I do agree that that needs to be ongoing. I did mention that. Unanimous vote by the bylaw committee to change the town meeting to sometime in March. I went one step further. I said we should really explore a couple of 3 nights, 7 to 10 at cutoff time. I would like that approach better, and we're still going to discuss that.
So let's see what comes out of the
Yeah,
bylaw
exactly.
committee, because it's going to have to come
Yeah.
back anyways.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
Mr.
yeah,
Chairman,
Mr. Lawler.
I'd like to probably move this even forward and maybe not wait for the bylaw committee, because it's been taking a year and a half since I've been on the board. And maybe we invite Suzanne and her group in to give us ideas, and maybe we consider a selectman-backed proposal. I happen to agree with Mr. McCoy. It should be on a weeknight, it should be on weeknights, and he mentioned the budget on a Monday, and I think that's how other towns do it, and I think that's something that we should really look at, and possibly
Yes.
move this forward instead of,
Well, no, actually.
the one question I have is, do we have to make the change at annual town meeting, which is on a Saturday? So, that's probably what we probably have to do, so,
We'll have to-
All right, so why don't we just explore that issue?
All right,
and
please.
see if that's
Please.
the case. See if it has to be
We'll
a
explore it, we're good.
Yeah.
a charter change, or
Yeah, definitely.
let's take it, or bylaw change, and let's see if we can get something moving on that. All right, was there someone else with public comments? I saw a couple hands. Mr. West? Oh.
Hi, I'll give you a little background. My name is John Bonapani. I am president of USW Local 12012. We represent about 380 employees employed at National Grid. National Grid locked out 1,200 employees on June 25th. It wasn't a strike, it was a lockout. The union offered to extend the collective bargaining agreement twice, and the company refused. We offered to continue to bargain and keep our people working. Many of our members live in Wilmington and work in Wilmington. We service the gas system. We do everything from respond to gas leaks, to repair gas leaks, install new piping. We just run the gamut on the pipeline system. The company replaced us with inexperienced, recently trained workers from different parts of the country, including Rhode Island and New York. They are employing people on the electric side to fill in for us. We have some serious concerns about the way they're operating right now. We filed 14 different complaints with the Department of Public Utilities. We held a meeting with the Attorney General's office last week, and they're looking into some of our complaints. The reason we're here, and you might have already received a letter on this, we sent out 2 different letters by email to all the city, town, state, public officials in our service territory, which includes over 50 cities and towns from parts of Boston all the way up to New Hampshire. And basically, what we're concerned about is the company continuing to perform new and replacement gas main and service work while this lockout is taking place. Excuse me. Usually when they do a main project, you may be familiar with it, you may not be, but they'll have a National Grid representative. A lot of the times it's a union person, one of us, and we do have some Wilmington residents here, that kind of monitor, inspect what the company's contractors are doing. The contractors do most of the new and replacement work, we do some of it. Or they'll have a management person do that type work. Right now, obviously, their union people are locked out, and their management people, they're using some of them to fill in for us for emergencies. So our concern is that they're not going to have the proper oversight on these projects. We've asked over 50 cities and towns to implement the moratorium. We have 3 cities and towns committed. Lowell has committed, Medford has committed, and Malden has committed. And we expect to have several more within the next few days. It's a lot of work trying to get the word out, set up meetings with different people, come to these type meetings. But that's what we're doing to try and get the word out and make sure everybody understands our concerns. The town Board of Selectmen does have the authority to regulate what happens in their town when it comes to a gas company. Chapter 164, I didn't bring a copy of it, but Chapter 164, Section 75 of Massachusetts General Law, the alderman or selectman may regulate, restrict, and control all acts and doings of a corporation subject to this chapter, and it describes the corporations earlier in the law, which may in any manner affect the health, safety, convenience, or property of the inhabitants of their towns. So we absolutely believe that this board has the authority to implement a moratorium while this lockout is in place, and we really hope that you consider it. we definitely think it's in the best interest of your citizens. So Jimmy Mariola's here, he's with me. He's actually worked for this local gas company for over 30 years. He's been here since it was colonial.
Yep, I just thank you for letting us speak. I've been the union representative out of the little shop, and again, there's always been differences in how Colonial Gas versus the next company, Keyspan, has worked, and National Grid has worked. But certainly, through all that, we've always been able to, as far as us coming to do our jobs, which we take a lot of pride in, there hasn't been any labor disputes. 1969 when it was Colonial Gas. We've had, and again, not to give you the bargaining history, but it's very important to understand, we didn't need to be locked out right now. And we're people, John, myself, we sit during the bargaining. But the end result certainly is, if in fact they try to continue to do this work, we go to the houses, we interact with the customers, the piping, we mark out the gas lines, we protect life and property. I mean, that's what we do. And we're not driven by any other agenda other than we come to do our job. We don't need to cut any corners. I mean, if they hire a contractor to come in, we've dealt with issues that throughout the years the company has wanted to subcontract our work. Leak survey, certain things we're trying to do, but we still keep a large amount of it. It's just not necessary. And certainly the concerns, as John pointed out, we're not doing our jobs. We're not overseeing what they're doing. Company has, matter of fact, has other level of services that as time goes on, unfortunately, they're going to have to meet as well, as far as changing gas meters, regular service work, corrosion repairs, certain regular maintenance that needs to be done. It's no need of it. So certainly, yes, we want to get back to work. We want to get back to work tomorrow. But right now, we're faced with the concerns that the company's not acknowledging that, is the public getting their service that they should be getting now? Safety-wise, are they doing, we've already have, as John said, up to 14 issues with the DPU. There's going to be more. And where it would take us 2 or 3 people to go out, find and repair a gas leak, we've seen now, they've sent out 8, 9, 10 people to go out there and poke around rather than fix it. And it's very disheartening to sit here about a company that we work for, but we have a lot of issues right now. Obviously, it's a multinational corporation, and it's not the same gas companies we had. Colonial Gas, we fixed every leak by the end of the calendar year. Myself, I've been out on jobs where it's a small leak, but there was still one on the books, we had to fix it. So we do have a lot of interest in what we do, and we're just like, we're here to adhere and plead that, you take that moratorium or look at, say, for safety's sake, let's hold on here while this is going on. If there's any questions.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I'm sure, this is the first really I'm hearing of it. I didn't see the email that you said came through. I would suggest that we just take it under advisement at this point in time. And I don't know if anybody else has seen the email.
I'm going to make a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. No, I totally agree. You folks are, Wilmington residents, right? Yeah, I totally
And we
agree.
service Wilmington through the former Colonial Gas.
Just like the chairman said, I mean, I would definitely take this under advisement. I'm definitely in support of what you folks want to do. I mean, I don't want to see them hiring a bunch of gypsies coming out there, and you're talking about the safety and the well-being of the people that live not only in Wilmington, but throughout the Commonwealth. Absolutely. If there's anything that we can do under the, this is all new to me. I mean, if we can help the folks under Chapter 164, Section 25, you folks know more about it than I do, obviously. But we as elected officials, if we could take a look at it and help expedite it and help you folks, I'm sure we're all going to do that. Absolutely.
So I can
Thank
leave
you, Mr.
contact information, get you any further info you need.
Yeah, you can do that through the town manager.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Bender?
I was just going to say, hopefully, if the emails can be forwarded to us once they're received by the manager, that'd be great.
Thank you.
All right. Public comments, yes.
Frank West, 2 Birchwood Road. I was wondering, Mr. Selectman Lau, for example, mentioned the inclusionary bylaw in working with the new law firm. I was wondering, is that going to be a public process where you'll have public meetings to allow people to come in and give their recommendations or suggestions, and also hear what's going on, so that, hopefully it'll go smooth at town meeting. So I just wanted to ask if that was going to be a public process, or if that was going to be strictly conversations between town council, planning director, and then there's a warrant.
Mr. Chair, I would expect that Valerie Gingrich is working on that, and when she has a draft ready, it will be brought to the board for discussion at a meeting prior to actually being placed on the warrant. Right,
The other
planning
question
board
I
as well.
had was that regarding to Sharapa Farm, we said, my understanding was that after town meeting, the Sharapa family may entertain talking to the town. And I was wondering if there's been any discussions between, either way, the town reaching out to Sharapa's reaching out to the town. Is there any progress on the possibility of the town acquiring that property?
There's been multiple back and forth between myself and Bill Crowley, who's the attorney that represents the Sharapas. We actually spoke, I believe it was last week, and I'm due to speak with him at the end of the week, this week. I don't really want to get into the details at this point, but there's been some conversation, yes.
And the last thing, this past 4th of July, as you guys know, is a scorcher out there. And one thing that I'd publicly like to say through to our police chief and also to our fire chief is that, as an example of how good these departments are and work together, we had a minor incident at our Boy Scout booth where there was a little young girl, probably 8, 9 years old, that was kind of, looked like she was dehydrated, and we called an officer over, and within minutes, not even minutes, there was police, fire. They were all set to take her if necessary in an ambulance. And just a compliment to the police chief here, and also forwarded to Chief McMahon as well.
Thank you.
And all the officers and everybody actually that worked on the 4th of July. I mean, you and I were one booth apart, Kevin, and everyone was there. It was a good time. But like I said, is that it was nice to see that the town was prepared.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay. On to new business.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr.
I'd
Lett.
like to start off by, and I know it's an important date, but the town of Wilmington is going to be presenting the moving wall July 26th through the 29th on 2018 at the Wilmington Commons. They are looking for volunteers. You can either call 978-694-2040 or email veterans@wilmingtonma.gov. So I look forward to that event. I'm excited to see it. I remember in 2008 we took my father-in-law down there. So it was a great time then, and it will be a great time in a couple of weeks away. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Norman, nicknamed Stony Stone, longtime Wilmington resident that served in the Vietnam War in the U.S. Army and received two Bronze Star medals. Stony has helped many young veterans in need for the past 40 years. Anytime the Wilmington Veteran Service Office has a young veteran that needs help, Stoney's there to help at all hours of the day and or night. So thank you for your service, and best of luck. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Since you're on the service, talking about service, I just want to mention, and Mr. Bendel had brought this to my attention as well, but Mr. Hull's son, Nathaniel, just enlisted into the Navy, and he's headed out, last Friday? Yeah. So we wish him well, that's for sure. Mr. Eaton?
Yeah, just briefly, to echo Mr. West's comments, the amount of work that the police and fire do to make sure that the Fun on the 4th is a family-friendly environment. A lot of those officers and firefighters are taking time away from their own families so that our families can have a good and safe event. So I just wanted to express my gratitude to them for that. And I also wanted to, it's not an important date, but it should be, the National Night Out is, I believe, August 7th, Chief. Do you have a time for that?
Start about 5, yeah. It's usually doesn't kick off, get really going until about 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I've been to that in the past. It's a great event. I'm sorry?
Eat mosquitoes.
You got a helicopter again, right?
We will, yes.
Okay. And it's a great opportunity for the police department to build more partnerships in the community. So looking forward to that.
I'll just say quick, I know everyone's talking about it. Like Mr. West said, it was very, very brutal, very hot at the 4th of July Common during the 4th of July week festivities, and everybody did a fantastic job. I enjoyed myself. It was really a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I too, my family really enjoyed it, so we want to thank everybody who participated in the Fun on the 4th activities, and so that was just a fantastic time. And I want to just give a second meeting in a row, give a plug. If you know anybody who's a lifeguard, who wants to be a lifeguard, the town is in desperate need. We actually pay our lifeguards more than the surrounding communities do, so if you know somebody or you are a lifeguard, please get in contact with the rec department.
Is there a weight restriction?
Okay, I don't know.
I'm not going to comment on that.
All right.
I did forget one thing. Part of the Fun on the 4th was the police and fire department's annual softball game. It was the second annual one. And by process of elimination, because I was about the only one that was willing to be the umpire, that was a scorching day that on June 30th, but it was a lot of fun. And I got to call Deputy Chief from the fire department out on strikes. It was a lot of fun. But him and his brother put on a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I hope it grows to an annual thing, and it was just a good time. So thank you.
Yeah, it was a great weekend, a hot one at that, as my colleagues alluded to, and just everybody getting together, the residents, the police, the fire, the DPW, all working hand in glove. It was just a great weekend for the community once again. That's it for new business?
If I could just, Mr.
Yes.
Chair, add to the comments that Selectman Bendel made about lifeguards. I know that there's been a level of frustration expressed by residents and others who have gone to Silver Lake trying to get onto the beach. I went over there actually on July 4th. Had received a text from Selectman Eaton, and I guess it was some social media activity related to the frustration about not being able to get onto the beach. We've had, no question, serious heat here in the last a week and a half or so, and obviously people want to get to the beach. The challenge that we face, as was noted, is that we simply don't have the number of lifeguards that we've had in the past. This is not something that's unique to Wilmington. There was an article in the Washington Post, July 3rd, I think it was, that noted that this is a national issue, and in some communities they're actually calling upon seniors who have the requisite qualifications to perform in these lifeguard roles. In our particular case, when I did go over on July 4th, the beach was, the beach wasn't particularly full. There were a lot of folks in the water, and one of the requirements that that our program has is that the lifeguard to individuals in the water ratio has to be at a certain level. I think it's 1 lifeguard to 15 people. So when, if you've got a limited number of lifeguards available, there's certainly a risk to exceed that number. And as we've seen in the news recently, there's been, I think, 7 or 8 drownings in the last several weeks. So we feel that, as inconvenient as it may be, the responsibility that these lifeguards have, and many of them are teenagers, that are trying to do the right thing, and we need to instill that they continue to do the right thing. And sometimes saying no is difficult, but that has to be the way it is. It's a first come, first serve arrangement. So whether the next person in line happens to be from Bill Ricker or they happen to be from Wilmington, that's just kind of the way we operate. And so I would just encourage people to be patient, and, you know, as soon as people get out of the water and leave the beach, then the next folks will be allowed in.
I'm just curious,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, Jeff, who comes up with that formula, 1 out of 15? Is it
The American Red Cross, I believe, is I believe that's their standard. So it's a standard that has been followed, from my understanding, for many years by the rec department, and I don't think we're alone either.
No, because the only reason I question that, obviously, if you go to River Beach or wherever you go, you got thousands of people on the beach, and I'm sure they don't follow that. I just bring that up. I don't know.
I also don't know if it's different, because I think this is there's a designation with Silver Lake, right? Is it called a Great Pond designation, so there might be some issues?
Yeah, I don't
With
know
that
that
as well, is that-
specifically affects the ratio of lifeguards to patrons, but yeah, it is a great pond that has other implications, but. So under important dates, we have July 11th, Concerts on the Common, Jimmy and the Jesters, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Also July 11th, brush drop-off, Old Main Street, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. July 14th, another brush drop-off, Old Main Street, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On July 18th, Concerts on the Common, Peking and the Mystics, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. July 25th, Concerts on the Common, Perfect Crime, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then, as was previously noted, July 26th through the 30th, the Moving Wall here at the Town Common. July 27th is a deadline to submit letters of interest to serve on the school committee. I would just note that we have not received any applications to this point, so I would encourage individuals with an interest in serving on the school committee to please submit a letter of interest. Next Board of Selectmen's meeting is on August 13th here at the Town Hall, Room 9. As was earlier noted, National Night Out is August 7th.
Thank you. Okay. I would like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussing negotiations with Jeff Hull, Town Manager, over the terms of a potential employment agreement in accordance with MGL Chapter 21A2, as an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the town's position, and further, that upon the conclusion of the executive session, the board will adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, and good night.